queer stories in India have existed in whispers or, coded characters or lives lived off stage. But of late, they are stepping into the spotlight.
Who are queer.
Queer theatre,
queerness,
queer college,
the queerness in India.
the queer characters.
Watch a lot more queer plays.
Queer people live across the world.
The idea of transness or queerness.
What I see today, I could have never even imagined.
I don't want everything to be about my pronoun.
At the end of the day, it depends आप किसके लिए कहानी बना रहे हो.
Men haven't been talked about in realistic ways as well.
I didn't know enough trans actors at that point.
And we're in 2026, kind of regressing and making I don't know what sort of cinema anymore.
I wanted to cast. She was like, Didi, you have to pay me $400 a day because I'm the only earning member.
Queer actors are very valuable because they get what I'm trying to say.
There aren't many people coming out and saying they're queer because they're scared.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Akarsh Khurana.
Hi, good evening, and welcome to the third episode of the third season of Unscripted with Akarsh Khurana. Today's topic, of course, is called the queer stage. Queer stories in India have existed in whispers or, coded characters or lives lived off stage. But of late, they are stepping into the spotlight, and they're being performed in packed theatres and sung on reality television and published in children's books and even reclaimed from mythology itself. And joining us today are four people who have helped to build that stage or space, which is hopefully safe. What an alliteration. So first up, the co-founder of India's largest platform for queer storytelling. Yes, I'm talking about Gaysi Family, and we have with us Sakshi Juneja. Woo! Second, a critic and a playwright who has documented over 100 queer plays across the country and continues to create content about the community, Vikram Phukan. You have fans here, yeah? You have fans. Come here. Next up, an accomplished actor, writer, and director who also happens to be my classmate from college, though she often denies it. Very celebrated director who brought the story of Shikhandi to contemporary audiences, Faezeh Jalali. Oh, yeah. That's not the theme for today, but we can do it. And lastly, words will never do justice to this phenomenon who is also late. So yes, we have a very multi-talented performer who became India's first globally recognized drag artist. We do have Rani KoHEnur coming in, but she'll come in when she comes in. Thank you, all three of you, for being here. Right. Okay. Start off a little bit with just like what were the first steps into queer storytelling for y'all? And since y'all, like you did mention, maybe we'll start with you since you said Vikram was your first interaction as a producer. So what was that? How did it happen? How did it come about? How did those choices happen in the first place?
I think for me, most experience with Gaysi has largely just been very organic. Never thought through things. Jo aaya, le liya, kar sake to kar diya, no template, no plan as such. Though I try to be a little structured today, but back then not. So started Gaysi also because one felt lack of lesbian narratives. तभी मेरी understanding बहुत कम थी gender, sexuality की. And I'm talking about 2008.
Right.
So तभी online दिखा नहीं कुछ तो सोचा चलो खुद ही चालू कर लेते हैं. And then I got more people and then organically it grew. Then we started with event and which was actually part of Mumbai Pride. There was another organization that used to do open mic. And उन्होंने इस बार ना बोल दिया था. So then we said कि चलो हम कर देते, me and another team member. And that's when we started doing open mics.
So Mumbai Pride was something that existed.
This is 2010 or 11.
Right.
Many of you are not born then, I guess. But and we did open mic. And through one of the open mics, I met Vikram. And Vikram came to me and said, for this particular, one segment I want to do on drag queen. And that time there was no drag, at least, in our, the way drag performances you see today in metro cities.
Asif Ali Beg was performing this drag queen piece which I had written, and the audience seemed to be loving it. That's when Sakshi came up to me and said, if you want to build this into a whole show, I'll produce it. So it was like a remarkable, and then of course, then I met Pooja, and then we said, let's do Drag Kings.
Right.
And that's when all that. So Tape is actually Gentlemen's Club. So
Tape is the precursor to Gentlemen's
It's
Club.
almost the same show. We just had a different name earlier. And then we were premiering in the NCPA, so we had to change the name. And then we decided to call it the Gentlemen's Club.
But Tape was not the beginning of your journey in terms of the storytelling. I know, of course, you are a journalist, and you were also associated with Bombay Dost.
Yes.
At some point in time.
Yeah. So I kind of edited 2 issues of Bombay Dost. Like 2002 was when the last issue of Bombay Dost had stopped coming out, but we always remembered it as a very important chronicle. I'd never seen an issue of it, right? But I thought that this is such a remarkable thing in Bombay. I'm going to go to the railway station. I'm going to try and find this. And they're going to always get it from somewhere inside because they always hide it. But I never found that. And when I came back I was in the UK for a bit. So when I came to India, I kind of asked, where is this magazine? And they said, it's not been on since 2002.
It had shut down already?
Shut down.
Okay.
But then the Humsafar Trust, I kind of met them during the first Mumbai Pride. And I said, could I edit this magazine? Because completely newbie energy. And they said yes, because they had funding from the UNDP.
So it had shut down and then you kind of revived it?
Yes, with the Humsafar Trust for a couple of issues. And then, of course, they continued after that as well.
But the 2 editions that you worked on were the last, or was there more after that?
After that, it continued.
It did continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
I discovered theatre after that.
Which we'll come to. But Gaysi also had a zine.
I mean, Gaysi does many things, but we do have a publishing. We do publish a lot of books on and off. For the longest time, we did have the Gaysi zine, but then we ventured into children's books. So we have 2 children's books also.
Yes.
Now we are working with the publishing house on a book, so not self-publishing. But yeah, we want to continue with the zine, but रोजी रोटी के पीछे time नहीं मिलता है. But yeah, we did.
And Vikram, how did theatre happen?
Interesting, because when I came to Bombay, I became quite friendly with Deepa Gallot.
Right.
Because we started this kind of thing together, like film impressions and stage impressions.
Stage impressions, yes, of
Right.
course.
And I think she recommended my name to Sunil Shanbag to talk about writing a play.
Okay.
So just out of the blue. And when I met Sunil, we really got along like a house on fire. But that play never came about. Then I contributed some pieces to stories and a song.
Okay.
So then, of course, as you know, that show went on for at least 150 shows. So you're always constantly backstage.
But the reviewing for stage impressions started after?
Around the same time. So when I came in here, the first way to interact was to write about it. I didn't know there was necessarily a lacunae for that material.
It was, yeah.
In publishing, when I was working with the Hindu for the longest time, I had a theatre column, and we also did a lot of previews and curtain raises.
Right.
But they didn't necessarily like reviews because it's like that event has already happened. Why are you writing about it?
And direction happened when?
2019 is when I made a play on Iranian asylum seekers who were queer, who were seeking asylum in the UK, based on certain experiences or stories that I'd heard when I was in the UK myself.
Which was called what?
Those Left Behind Things.
Those Left Behind Things, yes, of course. Faezeh,
Yes.
your journey, and also, I mean, of course, not necessarily your journey into the theatre, because that's been happening for a while, but your curiosity and interest in queer storytelling and some of the topics that you chose. And I know of Shikhandi, certainly, and Strictly Unconventional. What started it?
So I want to say that I'm for the underdog. And for me to tell stories about the underdog is very exciting. And I was reading the Mahabharata and the story of Shikhandi and then also Eklavya, which I'm going to do now, are the stories that kind of came up. But the Shikhandi, because it's such a small part, but it's there. So why is it there? And then I wanted to kind of explore that. And my interest in queer theatre as such, actually I was in college in the States, and everybody, like it was a very queer college also. Everybody in positions were, queer, lesbian, gay. like an eye-opening thing, because everybody was so open about conversations around it, and I think that kind of influenced me a little bit. But I also went to an all-girls school, so there's always that. There is. I mean, we can shy away from that, but it's true. And our principal in school, Ms. Darasha and Pearl, used to direct plays where it was always female protagonists. So I think for me, it's a lot about that. One is like the underdog, always having female protagonists, but also looking at queerness in a more integrated way and not as something outside the norm, so to speak. So Shikhandi was a story that I was very excited by. And then I went to Germany. I was in a program there that I wrote a one-woman show about, which was on Shikhandi. And then when I came back, I decided to make it a full-length play and then get people involved. So I think for me, it's more like, by the way, telling the stories about people who are less noticed, people who are the underdogs, but have made a difference. And I want to bring those stories. And I think it was integrated into the world of the play, which, again, for me, it's more important to kind of quote unquote normalize it rather than saying like, oh my God, it's like, it's this. But if you integrate it into it, then it becomes part of the lived experience of the audience also. So the audience is not looking at it as something outside. It's part of the world that you're creating, and they are connecting with the characters as they are, accepting them as they are, and they see themselves in that. So whether it's queer, straight, whatever, but the queerness has been there from Shikhandi. In Shikhandi, Bone of Contention, Strictly Unconventional, After Lies, Runaway Brides, they all have either queer characters or queer themes. And for me, it's not novel. It's more like it's part of life.
I think the observation period that you all have had is longer in terms of the evolution that has happened. And I was reading somewhere where it was like, now say in, not necessarily in films, but just in content per se, like, queer characters have moved from being punchlines to protagonists. And there has been, so what, talk a little bit about what has evolved really from the time that you start, because like you said that back then you were not even seeing any kind of material out there about lesbians, for example, but now there is quite a bit of it, and I'm talking purely about India, not so much about abroad.
Not enough, but yeah.
So that actually, like, what do you think, both of you?
So Gaysi's been around for what, 18 years now?
Right.
From the time I started the blog to the company to where we are today. And a lot of Gaysi's journey in queerness, in the world of queerness, and largely in the queerness in India, my own experience is pretty much parallel to it. Like, I grew with it, right? My own understanding of gender, sexuality, and queerness, and intimacy, and relationships, everything has evolved with Gaysi. And I keep telling people at times that what I see today, I could have never even imagined a few years ago. And I'm not just talking about from the lens of the work that we end up doing under Gaysi, but even in personal space, right? Like, I live with my girlfriend. We've been living together for 6 years now. Our families know. We go on holidays together. And I still remember this one little moment. This was just before COVID. Her mum had come down and we had come to her house for dinner, and I had my sister-in-law there, my sister there, her mum there, and some of my lesbian friends. And I had to like take a step back, pinch myself and be like, is this really happening? Like, because I had resigned to the fact कि प्यार मिलेगा bits and pieces में हर 3 साल, and इसी में खुश रहो कि at least मिल तो रहा है, and here we are. So even with Gaysi, like the kind of the work that we ended up doing, मतलब मेरा एक सपना था कि थिएटर हम पृथ्वी में करेंगे एक दिन. हमने चालू किया था क्लब में करना with gentlemen's club. उसके पहले the open mic, the drag show and the polyamory show, that other skit that we did, both were in clubs. And then last year we did it at Prithvi, and I was like, wow, like, आज हमारी stories यहाँ पे भी at least for Gaysi, right? And I feel, and again, you come with a lot of privilege, I accept that. A lot of things that one has been able to do with Gaysi is also because my privilege comes with me. And I've been able to do that, and I've been fortunate, and it's with the support of family. Gentlemen's Club किया था 2016 में, 2016, and yeah, and like today, like I think we've produced quite a few queer plays, and I get to watch a lot more queer plays, and the kind of stories, right? And I want to get back to what Faezeh says. At the end of the day, it depends आप किसके लिए कहानी बना रहे हो, right? आप straight audience के लिए बना रहे हो, तो आपका कहानी का लेंस एक अलग होता है. और with Gaysi, what we try to do is we also try to make things which are for queer people, right? Like I'll put myself in it. मेरे को क्या मजा आएगा देखने में? Because I have seen so much in my 18 years. Like, is there something exciting for me to watch? So I will try to focus थोड़ा उधर भी, but then I will also say कि okay, we have to mainstream ourselves. The queer community today is the fact that we are evolving. Like, I mean, I'll give you a small example. Like perhaps some article we've written on our website 2 years ago, today may not make sense. Today could be problematic because our language is evolving. Our understanding of queerness is evolving. So there is just so much to be told. So I will take the superficial level also. I'll take the deep one, and I'll take the very deep one also. I'm ready for it all.
And Vikram, I mean, obviously the evolution has been, as she was saying, and there is that much more exposure now. Do you think the obstacles have lessened?
You know what? Just before I answer that, I just want to talk about this theory, and I have this multiverse theory of, there are lots of parallel cultures in which queer people live across the world. Like, for example, you might have representation in Indian cinema. You might have representation in independent Hollywood films. And then you might have representation in theatre.
Right.
So when I was doing this theatre appreciation class for Drama School, Mumbai, and I was trying to introduce them to queer theatre, I mean, creating these slides. And we got around 100 plays that we could talk about. And they were not like the scraps that we get in films. But, for example, it didn't have the reach. So most people didn't know that these plays exist, right? So when Cock happened for you, it was very momentous because you were seeing our stories on Prithvi. But I've been seeing them for 15 years, but it's just people don't talk about it. It's integrated. But it was interesting to take it out and say, look at this. This is representation. So in terms of the creation, I had a completely different approach. I wanted to tell a story. It just happened to be a queer theme. It was not something that you said, oh, I'm going to go out and make this particular kind of play. In fact, a journalist had once asked me, why do you make plays in this genre? There are stories that you feel some compulsion to create. They just happen to be, in many cases, queer plays, if you look at my output of the last few years. But there are lots of different stories that I want to say that might not be coming under this umbrella, except for the fact that there's always the gaze of the maker, that even if I had no queer characters in a play, explicit queer characters, that gaze is there of the maker. So that's always going to be part of the mix. So from the point of view of obstacles, when it comes to it's just your own motivation.
Right.
Yes, of course, you have to kind of figure out how to sell tickets. But sometimes, people like, we didn't know it's going to have 85 shows, right? So it just went on. It kind of had resonance with the different audiences. And that's when you start examining what are the stories that I'm saying. Because Postcards from Colaba started with a lot of gay male stories,
right,
but my audiences were mostly women. So then, from then onwards, whichever project that I came up with, it always had a strong, not in that project, but the next few projects had a strong feminine presence and trust.
So I also want to talk about like resistance from the outside world. But I'm just taking a pause because we've got something from the outside world that's just joined us. So here she finally is. What, in your view, has been the evolution in the last 2 decades in terms of storytelling? And has there actually been any? So,
Hi, everyone,
Hi.
and happy Pride to everybody. Yay! Yes.
Who said that?
And which is very pertinent to your question, is we need more regional cinema that connects to the pulse of the audience. I think because in privileged corridors, people are more or less sensitized anyway, or at least have been exposed to the idea of transness or queerness. So I do believe that it is very, very essential that you have regional cinema that normalizes characters and don't sensationalize them. Like, for example, I don't want everything to be about my pronouns. I don't want everything to be I don't want a category like the LGBT creator of the year or
Right.
LGBT singer. Like Sunidhi ma'am, when she sang Pari Hu Main with me, she's like, मैं transgender गाना नहीं गा रही, ये स्ट्रेट गाना नहीं, परी हूँ मैं, अब मैं क्या, मैं कैसे ये करूँ ना, ये शी इज सिंगिंग अ नोट, I'm singing a note, we sing harmonies, and that's the beauty of music. I also think that in mainstream, when we kind of sensationalize our presence, sometimes some people just want to be normal. They just want to, they don't want everything, they don't want the spotlight on them. I'm not those people. I need the red carpet, I need my chauffeur, I need all of that. But then you also, for the cishet public, have a Rekha, na? Rekha was the first drag queen. Rekha ji has given you Umrao Jan. She's given you Khoon Bhari Mang. She's given you Madam X. And we're in 2026, you know, kind of regressing and making, I don't know what sort of cinema anymore. So sometimes I just feel like, yeah, it's, you know, people think that we are made fun of, and I'm just looking at some of the films and I'm like, oh, this was not satire. They were serious. I don't know when to laugh or cry. So I guess the joke's on everyone. You know, when things will actually change is when you have more representation of women and trans people and sensitive and emotionally, men with high emotional quotients behind the camera.
Yeah.
In the crew, writing better characters. You know, the cinematographers have to have an idea about what they're making, because I just think that, you know, art is sort of losing its essence in a way where, I mean, of course, at the very nucleus of it, I think if you're an artist, you don't really, it doesn't matter to you what others are doing or what others, but I think it should matter to us. And I think that with whatever little change we can make with our existence, we make that.
So, what is the ideal scenario you think that, you know, where whether it happens or not, we don't know, but what would be the utopian kind of state of affairs for representation of like queer storytelling?
Enough money. I think money
Great,
is the
yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
Sorry. My brother keeps saying money talks, bullshit walks, but that's another thing. But no, I think, see, while, you know, we want to mainstream things, we want to make everything normalized, we want to do everyday conversation. Yes, this is aspirational, right? And our aspirations also keep changing with time as you grow. I still like our bubble. I still want to nurture that bubble while we work outside the bubble. So I will go for that LGBT category. I want to keep something that is just to ourselves. I don't know, maybe a bit nostalgic or something like that. But I want to keep to it. And but on the other hand, I also want to mainstream it, because mainstream करेंगे तो पैसा आएगा, और पैसा आएगा तो फिर हम ये bubble भी बना के रखेंगे. So I think from that lens. So coming to your question, I would say money is the
Which
the
is
prime
fair,
factor.
yeah, absolutely.
And I was telling earlier also in the room that, you know, with Gaysi, at least I've been able to monetize quite a few things. But theatre is something that I find it hard. And I'm looking at it purely from the lens of a producer, right? Like, I work with brands, but to get brands to do theatre without interfering in the theatre sensibilities and without interfering in the maker's sensibilities, right? Like, brands will say, reel banwa do. And I'm like, मैं कैसे जाऊँ इनके पास और बोलूँ ये वाली reel. एक बार करवाया था मैंने विक्रम से, he was not happy about it. But so I try to make sure that we have enough from the other things, so that I am able to keep theatre the way it wants to be
inside
kept.
or outside the bubble, theatre को monetize नहीं कर सकते. That doesn't matter. That's the bane of our existence. But yeah.
So, you know, queer material is not monolithic, right? So, you're going to continue having a lot of edgy storytelling, even while you have, like Sakshi was telling us in the green room about this verticals, about boy love that's become very popular, and it's all made by straight people.
Right.
So it's that's the mainstreaming, and it's a flattening of a certain kind of representation. But you're going to have edgy material that's going to continue for a while, and I operate in that area where there's certain kinds of stories said with a certain kind of sensibility that we still haven't seen enough of. Even when it comes to feminist storytelling, even when it comes to, like you said, men haven't been talked about in realistic ways as well, right? So there's a lot of work that we're not anywhere near this utopian, nor do we want. I think we're operating in this. The edginess has to stay there. Like, last year we had Sabar Bonda, which is such an interestingly beautiful yet so powerful. We never knew that this story could have been told to us in
And
such
that
a beautiful
ticks
way.
the regional box as well, which is a big move in that sense.
Yes,
right?
and
So-
even this year there's Bapia, which is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Girish Kulkarni, the
Yes.
Marathi film. Yes, yes.
Those are new kinds of voices, Those are a new way of telling those stories.
Is there a danger, for example, of two things? One is, kind of making it like a fad like thing, that it's cool to do this right now because it feels like the need of the hour. And also, is there a danger of, like, say, tokenism?
If you ask me, I don't think it is tokenism. I don't think it's a fad. I feel the younger content creators who are now getting into vertical content, micro dramas, micro fiction for YouTube or Instagram for that matter, they are from the younger lot, right? Like, and I believe that the queer community, the queer audience, and the Gen Z and the Gen Alphas somewhere overlap. And I feel that it is perceived that the Gen Zs are queer inclusive and come with queer sensibilities in some aspect of their lives.
Right.
So for them, creating this content is not really like, oh, मैं something cool कर रहे हैं. It's हम देख रहे हैं अपने surroundings में, हम उसको replicate कर रहे हैं.
Right.
So they are putting out content that is watchable for everybody.
So, I mean, if you look at it's a lot of affirmative content, but there's a lot of problematic content as well. Sure. And so, they're learning in real time. And then you also have the great comment universe where you actually have people calling out in real time as well. So I think I'm constantly seeing a barrage, a surfeit of material. Since now with this conversation, not just theatre, it's about what we
Everything,
see
yeah,
on
yeah.
our timelines.
Yeah.
And sometimes, just yesterday I saw this reel about a person who's talking about homosexuality in terms that we have already debunked in the 1970s. So, they're coming back from the woodwork. So, as long as people are getting emboldened to say things, all kinds of people are going to say things. And then you just have to keep. And then, of course, you can give the kudos to the ones who seem to be getting it right. So I feel I see a lot of people educating each other in all directions.
Sorry, but I'm talking largely from the lens of storytelling. I'm not looking at content creators.
Sure.
I'm talking about people who
Are choosing
put
to tell these
fiction
yes.
stories
Yeah.
on their Instagram or on their YouTube. And boy love series have picked up a lot. It's not that थे नहीं पहले. आप YouTube पे जाएंगे, there is I
Yes,
think
yes.
Romil or something it is called.
Jugal.
Jugal.
Romil,
2 साल हो गया है, but now it's picked
Romil
up
and
again
Jugal,
because
old
of heated
Balaji.
rivalry. Right? And I'm seeing a lot of straight men content creators who have now jumped into or have been perhaps for a while doing fiction stories, 60-second or 2-minuters on their Instagram, now getting into boy love. Because boy love as a genre has now become popular in India.
I don't know very much about series and things like that. I'll only talk about theatre and the things that I watch. And I think it's also a bit unfair to say tokenism or fad or anything like that, because I think the new generation of people creating are coming from such a strong place of creating stuff that they feel strongly about. So whether the product is good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. I feel like I also, at whatever, now I don't judge performances or creations, because I know the creation process is so much work that I feel like, okay, I want to understand what they were thinking. Maybe it didn't come out. Maybe the LGBTQ thing seemed a bit out of place. But for me, it's more interesting to see what people are trying to say, especially the younger generation of theatre makers. What do they want to say? What is important to them, like Sakshi was saying? And a lot of them are very openly talking about a lot of things. So I don't think I wouldn't call it tokenism or fad. It may seem like that because at a time, especially in theatre, it does happen that a lot of minds are thinking similarly, and a
Similarly,
lot
yeah.
of content comes out that is similar. So I think it's just then your taste for that thing. Like, I don't like that. That's fine. And now I'm in the place where I can say that, okay, yeah, that's not for me necessarily. But what is that person trying to do or say is for me more important. So
I like that they're with it. I like that everyone who's doing what they have to for their algorithm and for their engagement, they're doing a great job. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you hear about, oh my god, this film has done so well, and then you want to go to watch it and theaters are empty. So that's also a PR gimmick only. Now you have to read the room if there's anything to read in that room. But I just think that this generation is very with it. I love them. I'm always for. See, if you just put your hands up and don't give them the benefit of conversation, then it's again a generational trauma that we're passing on to this generation. I don't want them to feel the pressure because I think social media is a very democratic um, medium. And as Sakshi said rightly, for them that is mainstream. For them to create that content, that process, for them it's a huge deal. It's a big deal, and good luck, yeah, good and congratulations to everybody. I see so many regional. Actually, again, I'm going to go back to regional because why not? I enjoy some of the regional content on Instagram. I think it's kick ass. I think it's so badass. It's so kick ass, and they just. I just think the way they maneuver it is so much smoother for me. I just think also maybe because there's not all this performative wokeism. It's just how what it is, and they just say it. And then if somebody says, "Arey, aisa kaisa bola," and all that, and then they'll be like, "ऐसा ही बोला मैंने. अभी नहीं पता है तो आप सिखाओ." It's so genuine, and I just love it. I just love it, and I think that the authenticity is what sells.
So when we're talking about, say, characters that are being written from the community, in terms of artists to play those, like we're talking about a lot of straight people playing queer parts, but where do you all stand on that? Like, is there enough representation in terms of, casting the right people for the right part, or is that something that doesn't matter at all?
When I was cast for the role in Thank You for Coming, they auditioned all the queer people that they could and they could find, but they also wanted sort of intersections, which I was very impressed by. Honestly, they tested different queer people and were ready to kind of change the graph of the character based on whoever performs that audition better,
Correct.
which I thought was very good. But I also see that when, for example, and there have been even trans people who have been cast, or gay people, or lesbian women, or bisexual people that have been cast as heterosexual people, but we've not celebrated that as much. But also then celebrate. Now, like there are so many queer people that are doing amazing things. Amazing. There are queer writers, there are queer directors, there are queer cinematographers, there are queer sound men, there are queer light and sound engineers. We don't give them too much credit. I don't see it.
for me, and it may be a little bit different, as a director, producer, or even when I'm casting, for me, it's the actor. Is the actor meeting the role? So for me, my auditions are open. My space is queer friendly. It's woman friendly. It's safe. Everything. I just choose the best actor or actors, and I have no problems with women playing male characters ever, or vice versa. I just feel like for me, the center of because I think also I look at it from a theater performance point of view and what I can make the actor do and how capable that actor is. So it's immaterial to me, honestly. And this might be also privilege of just being cis, that for me it's about just saying, okay, that person did that really well. I would love to cast them in this part,
Right.
regardless of. But I have also been on the side where for example, for Shikhandi, I did go to the Kinnarma Trust and try to auditioned the women there, but that then on a financial level that was not working out,
Right.
because the one that I wanted to cast, she was like, Didi, you have to pay me $400 a day because I'm the only earning member, and I was self-producing and I didn't have that. And if I were to pay her, then I'd have to pay everybody at that rate. I know it sounds very meager, but I didn't have that.
Right.
I didn't know enough trans actors at that point.
While we are looking at queer actors, I feel somewhere one needs to also, and not just actors, I'm saying like, people who work behind the scenes, right? Your writers, your lyricists, cinematographer, editor, all these people. And I believe a lot that, while you have it on stage, you should have queer people behind the stage also. I feel the skill building part is where we are lacking. I feel somewhere वो aspiration भी नहीं है. बिकॉज आप देखते ही नहीं हो, मतलब लाइक टुडे आप एटलीस्ट 2-4 गे आदमियों के नाम पॉपुलर मीडिया से, सिनेमा से निकालोगे, आप कोई लेस्बियन का नाम बता दो मुझे. When you see, then you aspire.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Few years ago, like for the longest time, even with Gaysi, I used to stay behind the scene. I was very happy कि कोई पता भी नहीं लोगों को कि कौन Gaysi चला रहा है. And I always wanted that. But I realized that it is very important for those, again, from the privileged space, who can afford to be out,
Yes.
and especially when it comes to queer women, is that we need more people leading queer people to be seen for others to aspire.
See, basically, within the microcosm of theatre that we operate in,
Right,
we've now been seeing a growing pool of queer performers, right? And they might not be out in the public domain as such, but we within the community are knowledgeable about them, and they don't want to only play queer parts. Of course, some of them want to be considered for certain parts, and lived experience. That's a very special word. That sometimes it is valuable for me as a maker for certain aspects of this character that I don't want to explain. You get it, then you. So sometimes I find that the queer actors are very valuable because they get what I'm trying to say. However, lived experience is one of the factors. Craft is a very important. Like you need to have the craft to essay this performance as well. So it's a mix of certain things. I'm always in conversation with a lot of different actors, and it's something that you have to consider because, like I said, like. Sushant said that you have a whole range, of parts that queer performers have to play, and we have to acknowledge that work, not just straight jacket them into, pun unintended, into these kinds of roles, right?
There aren't many people coming out and saying they're queer because they're scared. It's not a very happy place. They're not farting rainbows and butterflies all the time. I would also wish that people that came before me and were my mentors would come out to the world and show themselves before they pop it, And I would want them to be celebrated for their queerness. There are many in the industry that they don't want to talk about it. I built my castle with the stones that were thrown at me. Some people don't survive it.
I have a question for Sakshi. I mean, because I agree with what Rani said, and I kind of agree with what you're saying, but I also know enough queer people who don't want to make their queerness the center of their artistic life. So, for example, they want their art to be the center of who they are rather than their queerness. And you were saying, maybe they should put their queerness first. But I think I do know enough queer people who don't want that, who don't want to be seen as. So I just, it's just a question, and it's not because I understand. Because for me, for example, my art is the center of what I do, right? And queerness comes after that. And I understand it for other people as well. And I also understand people who want to make queerness the first, because maybe they've struggled with it so hard that they want that to be the essence of who they are. So I think there's both sides of it, but I don't know if I'm asking you a question or I'm answering my own question. I don't know.
Now, again, I don't have a right answer for
Yeah,
it, but
yeah,
this is
sure.
what I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's a sense of privilege. As simple as that,
Yeah.
right? अगर हम सब equal platform पे हैं,
Yeah, of course.
तो फिर फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि आप
Correct.
गे हो नहीं हो, आपका
Yeah.
आर्ट, आपका ये वो फलाना ढमकाना, right? पर हम equal platform पे नहीं हैं,
Right.
right? Like, for instance, a very simple thing, like for the longest time I've heard saying ki, you know, and especially about gay men, right, ki they cannot stay monogamous, you know, nahi ho sakta,
They
wo
can't
hai
stay
nahi,
monogamous.
right? But I'm like, तो you know, like divorce rates कितने होते हैं ये वो, I'm like, आप compare क्या कर रहे हो? पहले हमको monogamous बनने की वो सोसाइटी तो दो, वो सराउंडिंग तो दो,
Correct.
हमको एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे रखो ना, जहाँ पे हमें क्वेश्चन नहीं करना पड़े अपनी सेक्सुअलिटी, हम किससे प्यार कर रहे हैं, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा.
I agree.
देन यू जज, देन सिट एंड जज बाय ऑल मीन्स. बट जब तक हम वहाँ पे नहीं है, I will push my gay agenda forward. I will always, like my girlfriend says, she's like, you don't come into the room and your gay agenda is dancing in there. And I'm like, you know what? I am. Hence, I say the people who are in a privileged space, if they can come out, it's great. I'm not putting a gun on their head. Anybody who wants to come out, it's their personal choice.
Sakshi, you had said somewhere that, you know, you want it to be such that कि जो प्राइड मंथ वाला जो कॉन्सेप्ट है ना कि हम सिर्फ जून में करते हैं, and it has to kind of go beyond that. It has to, you know, it's not a 1 month thing. Before we move to the next section, to not have this and to kind of, you know, move out of this, you know, what's one thing we need to do? And not necessarily the onus being on you, because you're doing enough, clearly.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do?
I think the onus is on everybody. We will be more out, more active, and I think you need to be there with the stage, with the mic and the carpet and everything, and say, "आ जाओ,
And nice
करो
wigs.
जो आपको करना है."
And nice wigs. Okay. Vikram?
Nice wigs.
Paisa,
See,
don't forget Paisa.
Paisa.
We have to run our plays all through the year, so it's not Pride Month. Pride Month, there might be some infusion, some extra events and stuff, but mostly you have to continue working throughout the year in whichever expression you have. So
That pride also reminds you about this whole this journey that people before us have had. And I think it's not just you know, like a fancy dress competition all the time. I think it's also a protest. It is, you are protesting against certain ideas, and even if certain big brands come forward and do pride campaigns, that may or may not make their counterparts think about it.
Any questions, guys? Anyone here? Yes, Dion, please.
First of all, it was so wonderful and heartwarming to listen to all of you. Thank you so much. And I have a question for Rani. As a queer person, I really would love to know what you think about it. I'm an actor, I'm a singer-songwriter. I have won 11 national slams in Asia, poetry slams in Asia. I've done 5 major commercials so far. And अब मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है कि all the auditions I get, they are like, we want you to behave like Ori. We want you to have some lachak on you. You know, this thing has just become a part of me, even though I've done like straight passing work professionally. And as a singer-songwriter, I find myself very stuck because I know the kind of music I make now. It's, you know, बचपन में सारे गाने सुने, उसमें लड़का और लड़की होते थे. Queer people grew up reimagining ourselves as the girl or the guy or whatever. Here I am making music, being a gay boy, about being in love with a gay boy and having terrible heartbreaks with gay boys. But I'm not able to figure out what will help me stay, because I don't find support from the community. And for the last 2 years, I have sat outside offices of labels, be it Tiger Baby, be it Jugaad, be it Ball. For today, I was in front of Spotify's office, just wanting to be seen and heard, because I know the kind of art I am creating is something I wish I grew up with. But where do I take it? Who wants to hear it? So how does an artist stay an artist and just survive and try to be a Rani somewhere in the future?
can I give you a hug after this?
Absolutely.
And then also the promise that you can use my platform to do whatever the fuck you want. Let's write. Let's do a song together. Okay, I can promise you a monthly viewership of at least 20 million, but I then you take it and fly. That's what mother does. So I'm Santur Mammiya, and I just feel that it's world over, and if you're ready to sell your soul, um, I can give you a couple of numbers which I didn't ever call. But if that is what you feel is how your art is going to show, I don't think that's the way. It's not. So you make up your mind. See, there is and there is no qualms in saying do you want to reach more people through your art, or you just want to reach more people, or you want to just continue with your art, and then okay, somebody's giving you the time of day and you get to do shows and it's on you. So I think when you have streamlined your energy into what you want to do, very shamelessly also go and sign a contract. But let's do, I'm honest, let's do something together. I love you. Happy Pride.
Hello, hi. I just wanted to ask, we don't have a lot of regional language that talks about being queer. We barely have words for what sex is. It's either Sanskrit or it's straight up like something really, really weird. But then how do we start including, you talked about how we need more regional cinema, and I completely agree with that. How do we start making being queer also be being Marathi, Gujarati, whatever it is? How do we bring that language in?
It is actually, may I just say that the Indian regional languages are, by function, more accepting of, or actually gender neutral. ठीक है, वो वहाँ जा रहे थे, अभी वो थी या था हम लोग को पता नाही, बट इज्जत से किसी से भी बात करेंगे तो थे ही आ जाता है. सो मराठीमध्ये पण तसंच असतं, ते तिथे गेले. We are very inclusive. Marathi to is most inclusive.
Coming to your regional content part of it, you're correct. The language is inaccessible, but I'll tell you one very simple thing that we faced. It is, so I got my creative head. Her name is Priya Dali, and we make content in the office with our team, etc. And I get her, she's a Maharashtrian, and I get her to say queer sentences or queer words in Marathi, right? We've done a couple of episodes. We've kept it as a series. And the first few comments that we started getting, well, many said it's great, ye wo, and then it was like, why Marathi? हमारे ऑफिस में सब 20 साल के बच्चे हैं, वो बॉम्बे में बैठे हुए हैं, अभी उनकी जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, उनकी जो एक्सेस है, वो उस पे बेस करेंगे. I don't expect them to go all out. We try our best, but I also want them to be themselves and enjoy and have fun. I also want to, I keep telling them that I want to come to the office and have fun. So I feel sometimes it's a bit asking for too much, but it doesn't mean that it does not exist.
I am actually, Dion, willing to completely sacrifice my slow burn section if you come up and sing something for us.
Yay! Come.
Because I feel like that might just be the best end to this episode.
But I wrote a song called Ahista. I've written many songs. सारे ए से शुरू होते हैं, ए से खत्म होते हैं. अकेला, अंधेरा, अनजाना, आहिस्ता, आवारा, अधूरा, अप्सरा. ये सारे आएंगे थोड़ा करके. But I'll sing you Ahista. It's about a boy I love. Did you ever love someone?
Yes.
Did you have to let go of that person?
Yes.
I am trying Ahista.
Okay.
So I'll sing you its bridge. Thoda dagmaga jo, it's okay. I'm a bit nervous. And it's a fresh wound. And this is the first time I'm singing it out loud. Bunti rahi ख्वाब में कि वो आएगा, होगा एहसास मेरे प्यार का हर दिशा बनती रही ख्वाब में कि वो आएगा, होगा एहसास मेरे प्यार का हर दिशा आहिस्ता आहिस्ता देखूं ना तेरी राह आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कह दूंगी अलविदा इसको भी जाने दिया But thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me sing.
I'll put it together and then you all can think about it and say it. In terms of, and this could be stage or it could be screen, in terms of the most authentic portrayal and representation that you have seen of the community. So I need your best and your absolute worst and cringiest. That's the fun part.
Cringe में तो you can go so much.
हाँ तो कोई भी जो पहला याद आता है.
Girlfriend, Ram Gopal Verma. Oh God, मतलब कांप रूह कांप
Was
जाती है
that the
सुन
one
के.
with Ashi? Or
No,
Isha
no,
Gopikar
Isha
and,
Gopikar and
Amrita.
Amrita Arora. I mean, I don't know if it's best for people or not, but I did watch a while back on Hotstar. There was a show called Human, and in that it's by Moses, which I just found out recently. He had
Which
directed
is,
it.
Shefali's in that.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And both the leading actresses were queer. One was a lesbian and one was bisexual. But I just felt so good watching it because it showed queer people in shades of grey. So you have the negative, the manipulative, the vulnerable, all those aspects. And I thought it was never promoted as a queer show.
Yeah.
It's just that you watched it and you were like, oh God. So I thought that was good.
My shows.
I'll go back to the 90s. There's this film called, the cringe version is Mast Kalandar.
Oh, with
I'm
Anupam
sh-
Kher.
Yes.
Playing
and supposedly he played the first.
Pinku.
Piku or
Pinku,
Pinku.
Pinku,
It's the
yeah,
worst
yeah.
possible thing you'll ever see. And you can check it out on YouTube. Now we can laugh about it, right? In terms of the good ones, I really like this documentary called Summer in My Veins by Nishit Saran. I mean, he comes out to his mother on camera and her unscripted reaction. It's just remarkable because she's going through a range of things and it's just captured there.
Okay, best.
Fire, I think.
I was just going to say.
You have to come up with something else now.
Any Onir film for me is a good film. I think whether it's long form, short form, I
Any
love
Onir
it.
film,
But
okay.
I think that I would say My Brother Nikhil because I watched it literally with my full family. It was shown. It was UA. So I thought that was very very iconic for
it's
its
so
times.
relevant even today.
Say a good stage one.
A good stage one. I think
I would go with Runaway Bride.
Yes! Thank you.
I think it is, not just for the queerness of it, but people, whenever it comes next, please go. It's the funniest thing you will see. It's chaos, it's madness, but it is so much fun and it has so many layers.
I think I'll
Oh,
just...
I really loved his, the Iranian queer one. I forgot.
Those Left Behind.
Yes, Those Left Behind. I really like
Those lesbian things is done or does it still run?
that. No, it was.
We did 15 shows. We did 10 shows, yeah.
And
Yeah.
you do it again?
We want to. But I don't know if it'll run now.
And you,
Attention span.
in
So-
all your stage impressions days,
I'm just, because, there's so many of them, but I'll just point out Sharanya's Nava, where she got 9 trans women to have the different shades of the Navrasa. And they were all real stories. And, when you say non-actors on stage, you think that you're making an allowance for an absence of craft. But these people brought a rawness and authenticity that elevated that play to real art.
thank you. But we're going to end it with. You'll have to have the last word. We know this.
What? To sing?
Open-ended.
What
question
should
to
I
ask.
sing? I'll sing the song that I debuted in Bollywood. नहीं चलता है तो नहीं चलता है, but वो गरबे में भी चलता है, क्लब्स में भी चलता है, सब जगह चलता है ना, शादियों में भी चलता है, because everybody likes to feel like a pari, ना? So I'm gonna just sing. आई मैं तो आई नजारों के अनजाने एक जहां से, लाई मैं तो लाई बहारों के अफसाने भी वहां से, ना मुझे छूना ना दूर ही रहना, लाउडर, परी हूँ मैं मुझे ना छूना, फूलों में जो नूर है रानी कोहिनूर है, कोई तो ऐसा हो सांसों को मेरी महका जाए, आई मैं तो आई नजारों के अनजाने एक जहां से, लाई मैं तो लाई बहारों के अफसाने भी वहां से, होना ना मुझे छूना ना दूर ही रहना, परी हूँ मैं मुझे ना छूना, परी हूँ मैं.
And yeah, thank you so much, all four of you. Thank you so much.